What's up, y'all? Got some breaking news here for you on this Friday. And as you all know, MAGA is currently in the midst of a massive civil war. They are directly at each other's throats. You simply love to see it. So Trump yesterday decided to go directly after Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and really try to end their careers in one fell swoop is probably the best way to describe it. And this is, of course, because those figures have broken with Trump over the issue of the Iran war. So I have some super juicy updates for you on that. So first of all, Laura Loomer came out on her show and she said the following, quote, "I'm just gonna admit it. I sent the president Tucker Carlson's clips so he can see the shit he says about him. And I want that motherfucker Tucker Carlson to know that I'm the one who knifed him from the front." That's what Laura Loomer said. So she is currently playing the modern-day role of Rasputin. She's whispering in the deranged, dementia-ridden president's ear and currently helping to control him, along with Mark Levin and all the other psychotic warmongers like Benjamin Netanyahu. Not to say Trump isn't a big boy. He is. He could say no. He could draw lines, but he hasn't done that. But clearly, the president is listening to absolute mentally ill psychopaths like Laura Loomer, which is just an insane thing to really dwell on. Okay. Now, we also have Tucker Carlson has since responded. He responded by his newsletter. Okay. And this is incredible. Listen to this. Listen to what they say. They say, establishment media never reports this, but the Israeli government has a storied history of blackmailing U.S. presidents. Perhaps the most jarring example occurred in the 90s when Israel used recordings of a Bill Clinton-Monica Lewinsky phone sex session as leverage to pressure Clinton into releasing convicted spy Jonathan Pollard from prison. We're not joking. That really happened. By the way, side note, they're correct. That did happen. Dropsite News has reported on that. They say the phone sex story is worth remembering as President Trump attempts to end the Iran war. Like many other things Israel has done, it shows that America's special ally is willing to play very dirty to achieve its goals. Dark money campaign contributions, extortion, physical threats, and even assassination. In their anti-Christian worldview, the ends always justify the means. They have no issue destroying lives. Israel's current top priority is making sure Operation Epic Fury does not stop. They know the U.S. fighting their war for them is the best chance at expanding their borders and becoming a global superpower, and a peace deal would foil their plot. Based on the country's past, its leaders are doubtlessly willing to push as hard as necessary to ensure the bloodshed continues. That could mean Clinton-style blackmail against Trump, or something far more morbid. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Tucker Carlson stealing my flow word for word, bar for bar. Isn't it interesting when these people can finally break free and tell you what they really think? They all end up sounding like me. They all end up saying the stuff that I've been saying for over a year now. Isn't that interesting? When they can finally be honest. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, Kyle's right about all that shit. Right? That's exactly what we're witnessing here. Now, by the way, on this point, it is absolutely factual. Now, they go on to hedge a little bit and say, oh, we don't know for sure that that's exactly what... Shut the fuck up. It absolutely is what's happening. We know that Epstein was best friends with Trump for a decade, and Epstein is on literal audio tape saying that to Michael Wolff's face. We know that Trump was on Epstein's plane at least 8 times, and he went to the island. We know that the first time Trump and Melania had sex was allegedly on the Lolita Express, which is Epstein's pedo plane. We know that Epstein knew the inner workings of Trump's first White House. We know that they shared a girlfriend. We know that Trump wrote him a creepy-ass love letter, which we've all seen, by the way. We know that Trump offered Epstein a job in his first term in an attempt to shut him the fuck up and keep him quiet about all the dirt that he had on him. We know that Epstein learned human trafficking from Trump's modeling agency, his teenage modeling agency. We know about the private parties they hosted at Mar-a-Lago, where it was just teen models with Trump and Epstein. We know about that picture that Michael Wolff talked about that he saw of Trump with a stain on his pants and girls of an uncertain age bending over in front of him. And I can go on and on here. Like, there is so much stuff that is dirt, that it's just factual. We know it exists on Trump in the Epstein files. And so to say that this is something Mossad and Israel has, and they can hold over Trump's head, like, hey, by the way, you're going to greenlight all this stuff. You're going to greenlight this war, because if you don't, there's going to be some pictures and videos leaking of you with a fucking 13-year-old. This exactly is what happened. Now, what Israel does is they attack on both ends, though, because not only do they have that, if you try to back out, but they also pay him a bunch of money up front. That's what the Israel lobby is about. That's what Miriam Adelson did, for example. They've paid him hundreds of millions of dollars. So he's doubly incentivized to do what they want because they pay him a bunch to do what they want. But they also, if he doesn't, they can say, okay, well, then we're going to release these tapes. So that is absolutely factual. And now, yet again, we have another instance of when push comes to shove and people finally start telling the truth, they say, oh, of course, all the liberals, all the leftists, everybody who was warning you about this from day one is exactly fucking correct. And that's right. We are exactly correct. Okay, so, but not going to be surprised to hear about this, right? So, you have CNN's data guy, Harry Enton, their polling expert. He comes out and he says the following. Tucker Carlson has been in absolute free fall among the GOP. His net favorable has dropped by 47 points since he started disagreeing with Trump. Meanwhile, Trump crushes Tucker among the GOP. Trump's net favorable's 54 points higher than Tucker's. When you're up against Trump, and he says, to quote the movie Good Burger, which is honestly one of my favorite movies of all time, but that's a conversation for another day, you go in the grinder. When you fuck with Trump as a Republican, you end up in the grinder. And that's exactly right. So the reason I say this is to point out, even though there is a civil war among the MAGA pundits, among the commentariat, that civil war has not trickled down to the voting base. The base is still with Trump. Now, granted, his approval rating is fucking 33% in the country, so his cult is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, but he's still the most popular figure among Republicans. He still controls the entire Republican Party. He still has a fucking terrorist, fascist, imperialist death cult. And Tucker cannot hold a fucking candle to that. And now that Trump turned on Tucker, he's going to get less and less and less popular with the Republican base. That's how it works. That's what's going on here. So, the point we've been making for a long time, there is one beacon of actual resistance and defiance against Donald Trump, and it's liberals and leftists. That's what we are, right? So don't buy this nonsense. Oh, the anti-war GOP will rise up. My ass cheeks, they'll rise up. No, they won't. They're riding hard for Trump. They are slurping that ball sweat as we speak. And Tucker has stood up to Trump, and it fucking backfired for him instantly, even though he's saying things that are factually true here. All right, more. So, oh, God, I couldn't wait to talk about this, y'all. I couldn't wait to talk about this. So, Bryon Noem, Kristi Noem's wife, or husband, excuse me, as you know, the big-ass titty man himself. So, new juicy-ass leaks came out about him. So, apparently, he told a dominatrix that he wanted to be a, quote, trans bimbo slut. Also, he was in a 9-year-long relationship. You're going to love this. With a left-wing dominatrix, like an openly left-wing dominatrix, who also has some tig old bitties. This is like a fucking arrow through the heart of Kristi Noem as you read through this story. Because, like, I swear to God, bro, there are moments where he just says stuff to this left-wing dominatrix like, oh, I love you so much. You're so much better than my wife. My wife's a piece of shit. I totally love you more. And all this stuff came out. They have fucking audio recordings and shit. So the Daily Mail has obtained audio and messages of Bryon insulting his wife and worshiping a 5-foot-tall dominatrix named Shai Sotomayor while discussing his desire to transition into a woman. He told the dominatrix he wanted to be called Crystal. Excuse you? Wants to be called Crystal. Bryon Noem said, quote, I need to be your trans bimbo slut. Sotomayor was shocked he wanted a name so close to Kristi, his wife's name. So from the Daily Mail article, quote, fuck your family, Sotomayor texted Bryon in November. Now that's keeping it real right there. Calling the whole Noem clan, quote, gross. Quote, love that, he responded. Besides the fact of who your wife is, no one is prettier than me. No one is as powerful, she continued. This is what the dominatrix said. Fucking true. Do you want me to be a woman? Bryon wrote. Do you want to be a woman for me? The dominatrix said. I think I do, he replied. In a recording of a phone conversation they had weeks later, Bryon can be heard telling Sotomayor that he loved her. Quote, so much better than your wife, aren't I? She asked. You're so much better, he said. So the Daily Mail reports that the relationship started in 2016. And first ended in 2020. Then Bryon Noem reached back out in October 2025 and was even more needy. Sotomayor found out who he was and then started to shame him over what was happening with ICE in Minnesota. The Daily Mail said, quote, she ultimately felt she could no longer remain silent, even while role-playing. Now she would tell him that his wife was a horrible person, and Bryon would change the subject or say not to believe everything she saw in the news. 2 weeks later, on January 31st, which my birthday happens to be, by the way, he was back chatting again, this time defending his marriage. Quote, I do like my wife, and I know you don't, he wrote. To be honest, she's not very likable, Sotomayor responded. There's no female compared to me, especially your wife, she later added. True, he texted. And fuck your wife. Don't you think that after everything she's done, she deserves this? She wrote in another thread that same day. Deserves what? He asked. You actually worshiping a woman who deserves it instead of staying loyal to her, Sotomayor wrote in reference to the thousands of dollars he was paying her. I don't know what to say to that. She's a good person. You are amazing, though, he wrote. Just absolute fucking devastating. They have actual audio of Bryon Noem saying, I do love you. You're so much better than my wife. Would you ever marry me? He said to the left-wing dominatrix with some tig old biddies who repeatedly fucking humiliates him, and he gets off on that. He goes, oh yeah, I'm your slave. Tell me I'm a bad boy. Tell me I'm a bad boy, Miss left-wing dominatrix. I also hate my wife. I also love you and want to marry you. Bro, these people are so fucked up, dog. They are so fucked up. And it all goes back to what we talked about on the show the other day. It's a humiliation thing, right? Coming from religious right-wing households, they fucking hate women. They believe in patriarchy. He dresses as a woman to then get humiliated as a woman. And he walks around with his fucking balloon-ass big old titties where he fucking jacks off while women tell him he's a piece of shit. Like, and it's a thing. It's a thing among conservative, Christian, Republican men, right? It's a thing. They're weird about sex. They have these strange hang-ups. And so they like to be humiliated, and they like to dress as women, put in some tig old biddies, and apparently submit to left-wing dominatrixes, which is just so... It's just chef's kiss perfect, isn't it? It is just chef's kiss perfect. I love that the dominatrix, and by the way, you can see pictures of her. She's got like purple hair, pink hair. Like, you could just by looking at her, you could tell, oh, she's left wing. You know what I'm saying? And this is what they want. And I feel like it's, that's sort of like low-key what the entire right is like. Like, they low-key sort of know the left is better than them, and they want the left to fucking smack them down and put them in their place and say, shut the fuck up and let the adults take charge. And, it just crosses over into the sexual realm too, man. I mean, that's what it is. Fucking embarrassing. That is so crazy. All right, so before I wrap up here, let's talk about some of Trump's posts. So Trump came out and said, the Iranians don't seem to realize they have no cards other than a short-term extortion of the world by using international waterways. The only reason they are alive today is to negotiate. So as my brilliant wife said, no cards other than that one card that pretty much instantly checkmated us. Yes, that's exactly right. You can say they have no cards except this one card, which is like literally everything. Which is like, that's what's actually happening. Like, that's everything. The fact that they're still controlling the Strait of Hormuz and we have no idea how to wrestle back control of it. I mean, that's everything, right? So just humiliating yet again from our Alzheimer's having pedophile, war criminal, rapist president. We also have Trump posting earlier today, the world's most powerful reset, which of course, I mean, the conspiracy theorists immediately pounced on that because they go, oh, like, say, a great reset? Is that what you're talking about? Which just feeds into just like the old school New World Order conspiracy theories or the Agenda 21 conspiracy theories. It's like Trump going, quote, full globalist. I'm sure Alex Jones will be all over this. But I think what he's actually referring there is like a reset in terms of the negotiations with Iran so that, we're going to have a clean slate here and try to work this out. But the problem, of course, is... we already violated the deal 1,000 times, and Iran told us to fucking kick rocks. By the way, more on this tonight. Definitely check out Crystal Kyle and friends. We have on Murtaza Hussein, who's one of the best in the business, and we're going to give you all the war updates that you need to know. But Israel said, oh no, Lebanon's not part of the deal, even though it is part of the deal. And then Trump came out and said, oh yes, Israel said it's not part of the deal, so I guess it's not part of the deal. Just absolutely embarrassing and humiliating, and Trump yet again cucking himself to the Israelis. Gee, I wonder why that is. We also have Trump coming out and saying on Lie Social here, Palantir Technologies, and then he puts the stock symbol for Palantir, has proven to have great war-fighting capabilities and equipment. Just ask our enemies. So understand what he's doing here. This is a brazen, corrupt attempt to help out Palantir, their stock price has been struggling recently. This is him trying to boost their stock. Okay, because of the corrupt backroom deals that they have. Also, Palantir is the company that helped out with the Gaza genocide. Palantir is the company that's building illegal blackmail databases on all Americans and like spying like the Patriot Act on steroids and human growth hormone. But he literally says Palantir Technologies, then he puts in parentheses PLTR to say this is what the stock symbol is. So fucking go invest with them. They're a great warfighting company. They have great capabilities and equipment. So the most corrupt man to ever be in the White House. Maybe the most corrupt man of all time. I'm not, like, that sounds hyperbolic. It's really fucking not. When you look at the stuff that this guy's engaged in, you look at the fact that he's absolutely positively destroying the economy and committing war crimes on a daily basis, and this motherfucker cannot stop talking about the Epstein Memorial Ballroom and the Lincoln Bathroom and the Trump Kennedy Center and the fucking new airport that's named after him and the fact that his name is now going to be signed on currency and all this shit. It's incredible. The Arc de Trump, that's the new one that he's talking about all the time. He also wants to, paint the vice president's residence white now. This is the new thing he's obsessed with. I mean, it's fucking pathetic. It's disgusting. As he's crypto scamming his own supporters, as he's shaking down and looting the treasury by stealing our tax money to go directly into a personal bank account that he has for the fucking bullshit fake Department of Peace or whatever the fuck they call it. We've never seen anything like this before, ever. The most corrupt man to ever live. And then finally, I'm going to end on two things here for you. So Washington Post writes a piece, and they say, Chuck Schumer's team still believes that Graham Plattner is unelectable in the main Senate race. Quote, operatives close to Schumer have told people in recent months that they believe Plattner can't defeat Collins in a general election and remain wary of the plethora of deleted internet comments that include insulting police and rural Mainers. So this is just, the cherry on top here, that Chuck Schumer has absolutely no fucking idea what he's talking about or what he's doing. Okay, you're the Democratic leader, and you think Plattner is the one who's unelectable instead of Mills? Mills has the fucking personality of a dirty diaper, but Plattner's the one that we got to worry about? No, the fact that he not only survived all of these mucked up scandals about his old internet comments, the fact that now he's at like 66% as Janet Mills is at 28%. No, that tells us everything that we need to know. The guy's got a fucking, Teflon quality to him. Almost like a left-wing version of Trump in a way, where whatever they try to throw at him, it doesn't work. Why? Because he handles it easily. He comes out, he tells the truth. He's very charismatic. Everybody knows he actually wants to fix this country for the better. And so, you can't ask for more than that. But the reality of the situation is, Chuck Schumer knows. Graham Plattner is actually anti-war. He's not just going to make procedural arguments against Trump when it comes to the war. He knows that Plattner is actually anti-Israel and anti-Zionist and anti-genocide, right? He's actually anti-corporate money in politics. That's why Chuck Schumer is saying these things and believes these things. He's a creature of fucking Washington. He's got to resign, man. Like, the world's worst politician is concerned that one of the world's best politicians is not up to par. That's basically what this is. Okay, and then finally, I just had to share this with you. So there's this clip of Norm Finkelstein that's currently going viral and wild. I believe he was talking to Middle East Eye, and he basically goes like one by one through Trump's cabinet and just absolutely torches them. It's glorious. So on Rubio, he says, quote, Rubio needs GPS to find his anal cavity. on the Secretary of War Crimes, Pete Kegsbreath, he says, Hegseth, he's the Secretary of Hair Gel. He says about Bondi, Noem, and Levitt that their last job was at Hooters. And then he says of Jared Kushner that he's basically on puberty blockers. That he looks like a fucking boy. And then looks like he's on puberty blockers. So anyway, that was hilarious. Definitely check that clip out. All right, guys. I love y'all very much. Like I said, subscribe to the channel, man. Subscribe. Click that bell icon so you get a notification every time a video drops. That's deeply, deeply appreciated. Remember, we're real independent media. I've never talked to an advertiser, never done an ad read, never taken any money from a billionaire or a PAC or a government or anything like that. So if you'd like to support the show on Patreon, please do, or tip with that thanks button on YouTube. But most importantly for right now, sign up for Crystal Kyle and Friends so that tonight you can see all the war updates. We had a great conversation with Murtaza Hussein, and you don't want to miss that. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.